Welcome to the Bookers Alliance podcast, where we hold the pencil and the pencil is power. Coming at you right now is your host, Marky Mark, along with the man, the myth, the legend, Frank Donaldson. Join us as we discuss the ever-changing landscape of professional wrestling. So hang on tight, you jabronis, and enjoy the ride. Welcome in, everybody. Thank you for joining today's episode of the Bookers Alliance podcast. Man, oh man, if you missed the Rumble,
oh God,
good Lord.
If you missed the Rumble, go ahead and log off this podcast right now. Go load up your Peacock, put it in your hand, hold it tight, and sit down and watch that at least 2 hours of Royal Rumble, and then come back and listen to us today. Because if you ain't watched it, this ain't gonna make no sense to you.
No, today's episode we're talking about the Rumble fallout, and man, what a Rumble it was. It was probably one of the most historic Royal Rumble events, one of the most anticipated Royal Rumble events, definitely one of the most watched Royal Rumble events. So
had a pretty high attendance too, at 48,000 people. I mean,
incredible.
That's a lot of people to stack in a building in mid-January.
A lot of people. And so in honor of that special occasion, Frank, we've got a special drink for today's episode.
All right.
And it is none other than the El Segundo Brewing Company's Steve Austin's Broken Skull American Lager.
Yeah, Stone Cold Steve Austin beer.
Let's partake here.
All right. What we got here?
A little American lager. Yes, sir. And cheers to a historic Royal Rumble event.
All right.
Man, Frank, that was refreshing.
What? Tasty.
What? Fantastic.
What? Just awesome. I'll give it that.
What?
Sensational.
What?
Fabulous.
What?
Incredible.
What?
And awesome.
What?
It's just a nod to our good friend Stone Cold Steve Austin. You know, we know you out there listening, so thank you,
absolutely,
sir. You making a tasty beer there, sir.
There you go. Give us shout us out on your social medias if you want to send a little what is it? What do we call them here?
Sponsorship.
Our sponsorship. Yeah, you want to send your sponsorship over this way? Feel free to reach out to us. You know how to get us.
Absolutely.
You got our number.
Absolutely. All right. So our weekly segment that we've been going through, the WrestleMania chase, again, is going to be the whole damn podcast.
Yeah, I mean, there was so much happening between the Rumble and Raw the next night. I mean, we only got so much time here. So yeah, to pack it all in, we gotta use a whole episode for it today. So that's what we're doing.
Yep. So we're gonna kick it off talking about the women's Rumble match, and again, this is how the event kicked off. And go back in the archive, listen to last week's episode. Who did I say was my pick?
I think you said Bayley.
I said Bayley.
Mm-hmm.
Bayley,
you know who wasn't my
winner.
pick? Jordan Grace.
Jordan Grace.
Like, wow. Where did that come from? Oh, my God.
All I know is that was amazing when she popped out at number 5, and I'm sitting there going, who is that? Whose music is that? And then all of a sudden, you see her standing there with the title, and for a minute, you're going, ain't nobody else wearing a title.
Right. I'm
match.
like, wait, what title is that? I'm like, hold on, I've never seen. Then I'm like, wait a minute, I have seen that title. Then they flashed her name on the board, and I'm like, wait a minute, she's from TNA. Oh my God, what's happening right now?
I think both of us as wrestling fans popped in that moment, because that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
To see, as a wrestling fan, that's a beautiful thing, knowing that somebody else's women's champion can come be in the Royal Rumble event and have a damn good showing.
Yeah. Well, also because, I mean, she was a former WWE talent. She was cut at one point, meaning, they gave up on her. They, let her go. But a lot of that happened before Triple H took over. So it's good to see Triple H going back to some of the stars that he helped build and giving them a rub. He gave TNA a rub. He mentioned, a working partnership, which we don't know what that means. He also mentioned that silly, crazy, ridiculous door stuff that he wasn't going to talk about, which I thought was awesome. But
yeah. kudos TK Snowman for not melting down on that one.
Yeah, Lord. I think that finally somebody took that man's Twitter. Good God. He almost reminds me of Trump on Twitter. I mean, he just gets to going and them little tiny thumbs just start going. And before you know it, a whole word salad full of shit doesn't pour it out of it. But thank God everybody kept their cool that night. And, we didn't get that. So there's that.
Yeah. So Jordan Grace coming out was amazing. And then we got to see some other surprises. Naomi made her return back to the WWE, which was phenomenal. And her tagline, "Feel the glow." She was feeling it from the fans.
Oh yeah,
they gave her a great ovation, chanting "Welcome back." You could tell the emotion was all over her face. It was great.
Yeah, it brought her to tears. I mean, you're getting ready to go through. She was in the Rumble for 45 minutes or something. She was in there a long time, but she had all that in front of her. But I mean, she was literally brought to tears minutes before it, which was awesome. I mean, wasn't expecting it, so to see it, it was just like, oh my God, what'd she come out to?
Yeah, she came out too.
That's awesome because her husband came out too in the men's Royal Rumble. I was like, wait a minute, how'd they tie that in together? But bloodline things do bloodline things.
Absolutely.
So, just saying.
So as we progressed through the match, we got some other cool things. Some really cool. You got Kairi Sane trying to be Spider Woman hanging onto the side of the apron.
Lord. Somebody used the analogy. Them old gummy worms that you used to throw up against the wall and then they would slowly trickle down the wall. Yeah, somebody used that analogy and they said, I still stand by the fact that was a botch. I feel like that was not supposed to happen. Like, I think something like it was supposed to happen. And then once she got too far into it, I think she saw like it was a wrap. Because I saw Asuka try to pull her back in. And I think she just shook her head after a while and just went on and let herself fall. I think she was way too deep in a mess there. And just said, you know what? I done blew this one. We'll move on to Monday.
We got two other participants that came in and were kind of really cool surprises. Jade Cargill. Finally got to see her in the ring. Great surprise, great spots that happened with her as well. And we also had Liv Morgan come in at number 30.
Yep.
So great to see Liv back.
We love us some Liv on this podcast.
Great to see Liv back.
Yeah, it was great. Yep. I mean, my bad.
Frank, come back to earth, Frank.
I'm sorry. Yeah, but Liv, welcome back. But what about Jade Cargill when she got out there? I mean, when she lifted up Nia with ease, and just kind of held her on her shoulder and flexed,
as Booker would say, yeah, man.
Yeah, pretty much. Man. I mean, I guarantee when that happened, Triple H was just like, yep.
Was that the shucky ducky quack quack moment of the night?
I could see Triple H's little pen just start writing as soon as that happened. He was probably like, well, let's pencil her in with Nia. Let's pencil her in with blah blah. Let's pencil her in somewhere down the road. She'll see Rhea. Let's pencil her in. Can't wait for Charlotte to come back. Oh my God! I mean. Yeah. Even my creative brain was going nuts when that happened. I'm like, Lord, she did that with ease. I mean, the only thing that would have been better is if she'd have picked her and Piper Niven up at the same time, but then she might have had like that Rick Boogs moment where her knee just collapsed and we didn't need no more injuries coming out of the Rumble. So let's not let that happen.
So some of the coolest spots of the night for me, to me, there was 4 pretty cool standout moments. The first one was Ivy Nile and Jordan Grace doing their standing suplexes. That was pretty cool. You had Piper Niven and Chelsea Green in some comedy spots that was hilarious.
Chelsea's like the female R-Truth at this point in time.
Yep.
She's amazing. Like the stuff she's doing in the ring now, I mean, it's comedy relief, but it's also good work.
Yep.
She's not out there like, hurting anybody, not, fumbling around or anything like that, but she's still comedic relief like no other. I mean, she got flattened, 7, 8, 9 times during the Rumble. It was hilarious.
Between her, Piper and Nia, that was.
I mean, they in the corner, between the corner splashes and the fall on the ring splashes, the out of the ring splashes. I mean, my goodness. Remember when Piper caught her and like pretended to drop her a little bit? The look on her face, like she was genuinely scared. Like, oh my God. It's like, man.
I was going, Piper, drop her. I just thought that would be cool to see that moment. 2 other moments that were really cool to see. Obviously, we already talked about one, Jade eliminating Nia by herself, nobody else's help.
Yep.
Picked Nia up, threw her over the top rope, looking like the badass that she is. And then the other moment that really stood out that we're going to get, but I think they're going to make us wait. And that was Bianca and Jade kind of staring each other down.
Oh yeah.
That was a really cool moment because that was the like, oh my God, this is what could be.
It was that old throwback that they always do at the Rumble where like Hogan and Warrior had to stare down before like that. All the big stars eventually get that in the Rumble where they don't touch, but they get close enough that you're like, your mouth starts watering for it. You're like, oh my God, that's going to be the day.
The funny thing is, we've all seen Bianca for a while now. So, and I hate to use this reference, but it's the only way I know to explain it. You're kind of immune to what she looks like. How big of a presence she is, right? Yeah. And then we all see Jade and we're like, man, look at her. Good God, look at the physique. Look how strong she is.
Yeah, she's bigger than Bianca is. So
when you see them side by side and you see that difference.
Yep, that's when you notice she's a superstar.
She's crazy different.
I mean, because it used to be like that when it's Bianca and Sasha, right? Like you'd look at, because we were used to kind of that model, Becky, Bailey, Sasha, they're all kind of the same size. And Charlotte was like, just bigger than all of them. But I mean, not bigger, muscular or anything like that. She was just bigger, like a bigger girl. She's just taller than that. But then, same thing. Then when Bianca came around, it started to, transition more into the more athletic girls and not the smaller girls.
Yep.
But then when you see Jade, you're like, wait a minute. She's bigger and badder than all the women. And it's like, whoo. But so when you brought up, so those were your 4 moments. I had 2 more moments that really stood out to me. When they did the duel in press slams.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, so
I remember that,
the duel in press slams, I'm like, when you see Bianca and Jade walking towards each other from corner to corner with grown women pressed over their heads, and I mean, they're literally walking to each other like, oh, you can do it, so can I type thing. That was awesome. But R-Truth.
Yeah.
When Truth got in the ring, he got in there and looked at Zelina and 3 or 4 other women and said, where are all the guys at? I died. I mean, I literally died right there. I was done. He fried me for that. I was done for half the Rumble. I missed half the women's Rumble because I couldn't compose myself trying to get it together from him saying, where are all the guys at? They're getting thrown out. I'm like, what the hell? I think we said it at the time, but it has to be said again so more people can hear it. Maybe we can get an answer. Who the hell's writing this, or is he writing this for himself?
Who's writing for Truth? If Truth is writing himself, good God, dude, you're amazing. If somebody is writing for you, dude, don't break up that pair ever.
Absolutely
And
not.
we might need to even put them, with some other people too to get some more.
But if he's doing it himself, like if this is just coming from his brainchild, they need to get him on the writing team. They need to get him in creative, like ASAP. I get it. He's a talent. So the hell what? Get him in creative. Because there's a lot of guys out there that need that comedic relief. I mean, he can go right for Gunther, right? That's not going to be a thing.
Right.
But could you imagine if he interjected some of his, silly antics into like the Chad Gable group?
Right.
With him, Otis, Maxine Dupree. And Truth get in there with that. I mean, good Lord. I mean, that writes itself. I mean, you just kind of let the magic happen from there. You just put those, entities amongst each other and just let it go.
Let's talk about somebody else that made a very good showing in the Rumble, coming up from NXT to join into the Rumble festivities, and that was Tiffany Stratton.
Yep.
So Tiffany,
well, you think she made a good showing for yourself because you like the show. I mean,
hey, Tiffany Stratton, she is athletic, she's beautiful, but at the same time, you can see a determination and a drive in her for what she's trying to give to the fans that you don't see it all the time. You can tell she's kind of that 4 horsewoman type mantra. She's I'm trying to outwork everybody.
It seems like she picked up the torch that Mandy Rose left and just ran with it. When Mandy was on the main roster on her first go round, she was too early for it. She wasn't really ready for it. They just they looked at her and said, "My God, we got to get her on TV." That was a Vince thing. Of course he wanted her on TV, but I get it. You look at her like, we got to get her on TV, but she was nowhere near ready for TV.
Right.
When she went back to NXT and actually honed her craft and came up with her gimmick.
She was phenomenal in NXT.
Yeah, she developed into that gimmick like no other, and it's like, oh my God. So when she had to step away, it's like, oh my God, what a loss. How are we going to recover? But then when Tiffany Stratton stepped in with her completely opposite gimmick, it's not like she just picked up Mandy's gimmick or anything. She just picked up that empty slot that was there at the top of the NXT women's division, played into her gimmick so well into it that, you kind of didn't miss Mandy as much as you thought you would,
Right.
And that's the good thing about the Performance Center. They're cranking out a lot of talent down there. So when somebody goes down, you're not going to be at a loss like it used to be. It used to be, somebody goes down, oh, hell, everybody's scrambling and you're in trouble. You don't know what to do. Now it's kind of, I don't want to say plug and play, but it's kind of plug and play. If somebody goes down, somebody else is waiting to take that spot. They're hungry for it.
Let's also take a moment and plug NXT real quick. Got an event coming up Sunday, Vengeance Day. Take a moment, watch that event.
Yeah.
If you've not been a fan of NXT since the original NXT Black and Gold days, take a chance. Go and watch that event. There's a phenomenal main event that's going to happen. Trick Williams, Ilya Dragunov.
Yep.
Oh, whoop that!
I think he's going to whoop that Trick.
Whoop that Trick.
Although I don't know.
Trick.
After Trick came out on SmackDown last week, with the ovation he got,
that pop he got.
I don't know if Trick's going to stay in NXT long enough to get that title.
He might not be down there. He might not be down there long.
Remember, Keith Lee got the title, the NXT title, and like a month later, he had to drop it because he was called up.
Yep.
Although that didn't go exactly how we planned, but not everything works out as you wish. So honestly, for me, I hope Trick kind of hangs in NXT for a little while, just because. Yeah. I want him to kind of do like we just talked about with Mandy Rose, where he really finds his gimmick, gets fully invested in the gimmick, and then gets called up to have a monster run.
And if you've not seen Trick wrestle in a ring yet, just think of Booker T, Baby Booker, Harlem Heat days.
Pretty much.
Yeah, that's Trick Williams. And just every bit as good, if not better. And he's just getting really good with the
upside for Trick. He's about 5-6 years younger than Booker was when he started hitting his stride.
He's got some long way to go.
Booker spent a long time at Harlem Heat before he could hit that single stride. Trick's hitting it now. He's ready to explode out of his Trick Mello game into his own. And he's still young, so we got a lot of time left for Trick. Not to say Carmelo's shaded by anything. He's his own star, but Trick kind of went from that secondary partner into his own character real fast.
So let's get back on track here. Let's talk about the ending of the women's Rumble match. Bayley coming out as your winner, also pulling double duty and getting the Iron Man with 63 minutes and how many seconds? 5 seconds
Something
or
like
whatever.
That, yeah. It's a long damn time.
Yeah, getting both of those. So first off, kudos to you, Bayley. You deserve it. I look.
Pastime for Bayley. Let's say it at this point now, all the other 4 horsewomen have main evented a WrestleMania, right?
Yeah,
Bayley was kind of that that last one that didn't really get the same opportunities,
right.
As the other ones did. She got called up last. The other 3 women got called up first while Bayley hung around in NXT.
Plus, by the time everybody else got called up, their characters changed a little bit. They had character development, right?
Yeah.
Bayley took a while before she finally.
Well, they had to graduate
the
them. They kind of brought, they kind of played girl gimmicks. And, the NXT, the early days of NXT, the girls were kind of girls. Remember, Alexa Bliss was a cheerleader. Charlotte was kind of like a daddy's girl gymnast type thing.
Yeah.
When they got called up to the main roster, they had to kind of grow up. When Bayley got called up, they left her in her hugger gimmick, and she was. And don't get me wrong, with the Bayley buddies and all that, it worked for kids.
Yeah, but
I get it. You want to have that character that appeals to kids, but what does it do to the character?
But when us fans, when we kind of pushed back on that gimmick and we're like, no, Bayley can be so much more, and then finally she flipped that switch, dyed her hair, cut her hair, complete different heel persona.
Found some way into a lifelong feud with Michael Cole.
Somehow.
So that's always fun.
But kudos to Bayley for that. Much deserved. She carried the torch most through the pandemic. I'm glad to see her getting that second push.
Yeah. It's good for her not to be partnered in with Sasha and partnered in with whoever other friend that she had.
Right.
It's time for her to shine on her own. Let her be her own character. Wherever the Damage Control storyline may take her, let that develop. Let it be fun.
Sorry, EO.
Pretty much, right? But let her get her shine. Let her get her individual.
I think it's going to be a hell of a match, though.
There's a lot of potential for it. I think we drew up a little scenario during the Rumble Whereas let's say Damage Control would turn on her. Maybe a returning Naomi might come out and help. Maybe a returning other character that's friends with both Bayley and Naomi may come down the pipe to maybe help her out. And there's a lot of different possibilities that we could get out of that.
Might be banking on something there.
Yeah, it could be. It might be money in the bank.
All right, so let's switch gears. Let's talk about the men's Rumble. Let's talk about how it kicked off, number 1 and number 2.
I noticed you didn't want to talk about Roman and his victorious win over 3 mighty contenders at the Royal Rumble
storyline
to lead himself into lead himself into WrestleMania 40 as the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world.
Here we go.
I noticed we didn't want to talk about that, so we'll follow script.
Let's talk about it for just a second.
Okay.
Let's talk about it for just a second.
All right.
So first things first, same damning ending of this match that I've seen for like 4 years now.
Yeah, you never seen that ending before.
Dude, that was so Solo coming down to interfere. He's going to get it on a technicality somehow, some way, cheat the win, you name it, pull the ref out of the ring, whatever's going to happen, always happens, and I'm tired of it. It's played.
Yeah.
Dude,
6 weeks ago, you were on top of the world for the Bloodline storyline. Now you got into this whole Cody thing, and now you feel like you're about to lose this Cody thing. So now you're soured on Roman. Look how the world turns.
Here's the way that it happens. All right, here's the way that it happens. I am a massive, massive, massive Star Wars fan. I can take in Star Wars content all day, every day. Watch it, new stories, love it, all good. After a while, though, if you don't feed me new content, I'm going to get bored of it until it's cyclical and it comes back around and I remember what I missed. I'm at that point with Roman and the Bloodline story where I'm sick of it. 6 months down the road, if we're still going and there's a new wrinkle in the plan, may I become, a fan of it again? Absolutely. We've said it in the past. Go back, listen, go through the archive, listen to what we said. That's one of the best storylines that has possibly ever been told in professional wrestling. Yep. So much so that we were talking about it. It should be Emmy Award winning, right? Yep. So I'm not going to sit here and say I don't like it and I don't support it and I'm not a fan of it. I am. It's just I'm ready for a change of ice cream flavor, though. I'm ready. I'm ready for a different flavor.
Unfortunately, that is the way the world is now. Right. Nobody has the patience anymore to just take their time, take things slow, and just let it figure itself out. Everybody wants that immediate gratification now.
If the world is truly a buffet, why am I going to eat cream corn every time I go to the buffet?
Everybody cooks it a different way. Like, you cook your cream corn a lot different than I cook mine. So, cream corn ain't always the same cream corn. It depends on who the chef is.
Wait a minute. A chef? Mm-hmm. We got a new chef in the kitchen?
Yeah.
Is he cooking?
I don't know, but I might smell it.
Uh-oh.
So if you smell it, then let me in. What do they say? If you smell it, then let me in. So.
Look, I'll give Roman his flowers. Okay, you won the match. Cool, I got you. Okay, I'm good with it. Carry that title on into Mania. Yeah. Let's go for it.
Hollywood title, the Hulk Hogan title.
Now you start to see why I'm okay with it.
the interesting stories that came out of last night. That was fun.
All right, before we get there.
Yeah, we don't want to go too far.
We don't want to go too far. Let's talk about the Rumble. So it's number 1 and number 2. Jimmy and Jay Uso starting out number 1 and number 2.
Oh yeah, the old school interest. I remember when Demolition did that in the first pay-per-view Royal Rumble way back in '89. When that happened, I was just like, wait a minute, Demolition fighting each other? Hey, but what's always been the story of the Royal Rumble? There's no friends.
No friends.
No friends, no tag teams, no nothing.
Every man for
himself.
So to see them kind of go at it, you could tell Jay, when Jimmy's music hit, you could tell Jay was like, really?
Yeah.
I gotta do this. And you can tell, okay, so he left SmackDown to get away from all of that because even though he didn't want to be associated with it, at the end of the day, it's family.
Yep.
And he knows, okay, so Jimmy's whole thing was, I did this for you. I did this for us.
Yep.
Well, Jay's looking at it like, okay, I left SmackDown for us.
Yeah.
Because we're brothers. And at the end of the day, I don't want to fight you. You're my brother. But I gotta be away from you so I don't have to fight you, right?
Yeah. Okay. He might not have had to fight him till now, but he definitely had to do it at the Rumble.
And it was good to kind of see that though, because all of a sudden you kind of popped an idea in your head and going, Jimmy and Jay Uso,
A little bit of foreshadowing, huh?
WrestleMania 40.
Absolutely.
The city of brotherly love.
Yeah, you're right. You got to find a way to tie all that in together, and you got to wrap that story up at some point because
And I'm here for it, too.
Yeah, they're ready to take Jay off into a whole new, era. They're ready to do something new with him.
Yep.
So you got to find something to do with, Jimmy, but you got to tie that story up at some point in time, too.
So let me fantasy book real quick.
Okay.
Real quick. Let me fantasy book something. We actually going to get the brother versus brother match. We're going to get twin battle. We're going to get Jimmy versus Jay, WrestleMania 40,
All
City
right.
of Brotherly Love.
Sounds like a plan.
Hill's going to win out. Jimmy will win. And he wins by the introduction of a new family member.
Who's that?
Jacob Fatu.
Jacob Fatu. He's in MLW now, I think, and they're trying to weasel him out of that or something.
Jordan Grace was in TNA, just saying.
True, but
Just saying.
But Jordan Grace was a one-off. She ain't coming back for a while.
This could be a one-off.
Now, if you bring in a new bloodline member, they're in the bloodline storyline. They got to have a fallout on that.
I just think that there's a lot of possibilities of where they could go with that.
There's definitely a lot.
That would be fun.
I mean, they could bring Rikishi out for you don't know. They definitely don't have a problem with that. I mean, that's an easy one, which brings up another point about the men's rumble and the women's rumble. No legends this year.
No legends,
legends.
So that two things. First thing, I thought that's kind of refreshing because we've been hitting legends a lot.
Yeah. Always. I mean, we've always had legends.
Number two, that's an indication of how stacked this damn roster
exactly,
really
and that's where I was going to go. Like the men's rumble, we had Braun Breaker come up from NXT. We had young talent come out. We had no room for no damn legends this year. So unfortunately, while those of us, nostalgia fans, we love to see it, there just ain't no room for it right now. So maybe down the road there will be room for it, but damn. We would have had to go to 50 to get some legends out there because we actually didn't even get all the men's and women's competitors that we needed in the damn Rumble we just had.
Yep. So I will say this. Out of the two Rumble matches, I felt the women's match was more eventful because there was so much that kind of happened, right? Wasn't a lot of eventful stuff in the men's Rumble, but
it was a little too predictable.
But the stories that kind of spun out of the men's Rumble is what is carrying some weight. And
that's the thing. That's why it was predictable. I mean,
right.
The Rumble is what it is, but the hype to the Rumble is bigger than the Rumble itself nowadays. The Rumble nowadays is pretty much the springboard for let's get started with our WrestleMania program. Yep. So you kind of have to package the people in that need to be packaged in together to take your story forward. So, it kind of is what it is. It doesn't leave for so much excitement, but you have to take away from it what you can take away from it.
You said the key word there. My ears perked up when you said it.
What's that?
You don't even know you said it.
Nope.
Story.
Well, everything's about story in wrestling. I mean, the story and the characters.
Story.
If it ain't for that, you got AEW. They're moving on.
We'll bypass that real quick. All right, so since we're talking about story, number 15, Mr. Cody Rhodes made an interest at number 15. He had the number 30 spot last year. He kind of mixed it up same way he mixed it up last year. Thought I would see a little bit of more of him and Nakamura kind of going at it, but really they didn't touch on that much.
I think there's stories about over at this
they're
point.
Done.
So I think they took a little bit of time. Didn't Cody eliminate Nakamura, I think? So, I mean, I think that really closed the door on it. Like, all right, we're completely out of this. Let's move on.
CM Punk getting in there. And of course, talking about Rumble Fallout, CM Punk picks up a massive injury.
Apparently, as he was falling out. That's what somebody said. They said it looked like the way his arm got tangled up in that. I saw someone else saying the way he took the even flow DDT from Drew McIntyre.
Oh, kudos to you, sir, for calling it an even flow DDT.
Yeah, I got to give a shout out to Raven.
To Raven.
That one. Yeah,
that's all. Dude, that's why you my partner, man.
Yeah, I mean,
I'll tell you, that's my sidekick.
I remember that from hell, Raven was doing the even flow back in WCW, Raven, ECW.
I used to be a huge Raven fan, man.
There you go. So I always like the name even flow DDT. Yep. So I'm gonna call pretty much every DDT that if there's any possible way I can get it. But I mean, as usual, like you said, CM Punk wrestled on TV. CM Punk got hurt. I mean, that's kind of par for the course now.
I hate to say it this way, but I even texted you. The man's starting to be made of glass.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate. And we've seen several kind of, whether it be professional athletes or wrestlers, kind of picked up this I don't know, Black
Apparently,
Cloud
you jackasses didn't listen to our episode 3 weeks ago about injuries.
To be more careful.
Because damn, since we did the injury episode, all the main eventers are now getting injured. So hell, at least when we did that, we were talking about kind of mid-card guys or things. Hell, now it's all main. Ever since we did that episode, every damn main eventer, every company's got has now found a way to get damn injured.
And don't come at us for that. We're not Nostradamus.
Exactly. We were trying to warn your asses. We gave you the blueprint of don't do this, or this could happen.
Yep.
Y'all assholes went out there and did all of it and some. Now everybody's hurt, and now we're in a flux for WrestleMania.
So Punk picks up this injury. He's able to make it kind of there to the end. Punk and Cody kind of have a 8-minute or so kind of a little match there at the end. Very cool. Thought it was great, but at the same time, you could kind of start predicting some stuff. We had a running joke throughout the night, and I challenge you guys next year at the Rumble. Pay attention in the match. If you see somebody pointing at that sign prematurely,
once you
just
point at
know
the
they're
sign,
going out.
Once you point at the sign before the fireworks go off, your ass ain't winning.
Yeah,
that ain't gonna happen.
So
CM Punk did something else too. He did a lot of talking.
He started jawing, and he said, "I didn't wait 10 years to come back and lose to Dusty's kid."
Yeah, 30 seconds later, he was sitting on his ass on the floor.
Yeah,
good job, CM Punk. Good job. I mean. So I'm still, and I want to hear from the listeners. I want to hear from you though. I'm still of the opinion that they pivoted.
No, they didn't.
I feel like they did.
So there's been a lot of people that's come forth and said Cody was always playing the winner.
Of course they say that now. I mean, you don't want to say, oh hell, we were in a full panic and then we just went with the obvious answer. You're gonna say, oh yeah, we knew it all along. Those same people probably said they knew CM Punk was injured Thursday. The fact of the matter is, nobody knew.
Nobody knows for sure.
Exactly. But I'm still of the way of thinking that Punk was probably gonna win, because either way it goes, I mean, Cody or Punk winning, both of them were predictable as hell. I mean. Yeah. Everybody who wasn't saying Punk was going to win was saying Cody was going to win. So it isn't like they went away from predictability.
I would like to go back and watch the match. So let's talk a little bit of inside baseball. Knowing what we know about how the matches are put together. Just because, unfortunately, as a fan, the curtain has been pulled back so far.
Oh, yeah.
We kind of know some things. And I would almost like to go back and rewatch the end of the Rumble just to see how much the referee was kind of in everybody's ear. Mm-hmm. Because if they truly did pivot somehow, that referee would have been the key person to kind of say, hey, you need to change this spot. We need to go here.
Well, so, I mean, the spot was it. So if you notice when Punk took the DDT, right, he rolled over to the ropes and grabbed his arm, you know. Referees ran immediately to his face, but then, of course, they panned away to a different camera angle. You got to think CM Punk told him, oh, hell, I'm hurt. Because he just had this injury, a year ago?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it isn't like he was unfamiliar with the tricep injury, so he would know what it feels like because he just felt it. It would have been that hard for him to say, hey, I just got hurt, I'm in trouble. And, I mean, that's not hard to communicate to anybody is, you just say, hey, flip it around. I'm sure there were a bunch of different, moving theories on how to end the Rumble anyway.
Yep.
If Punk had been too injured, they would have had to pivot completely out of him being one of the last two members.
Yep.
So I'm sure there were a lot of working, just like a play in football. You got a lot of audibles.
A lot of audibles to call.
You got the set play. This is what, all right, here we're running, fly route Z, right? When fly route Z is completely covered by the defense,
Punk hollering, kill.
Exactly. And who is it? Omaha. And every other, what does Dak say? Here we go. On the way home. Oh, sorry.
No. Why do you got no? See, I gave you your flowers a while ago, and then you put me in the grave.
Well, I bought you your flowers too. I just put them over the Cowboys playoff grave this year because that's where they're at. But I digress. Nonetheless, they could have. I mean, there had to be audibles in there because you never know when somebody's going to get hurt. I mean, hell, Cody had a torn pec. Now CM Punk has a torn tricep. He's already had a torn tricep. Both of those guys knew. And then Punk even got physical last night on Raw. So, I mean, it isn't like he's completely incapable. His arm ain't hanging off the bone like Cody's was.
Well, so let's pivot to that real quick. Before we have to wrap our show up, let's pivot and let's talk about what happened on Monday Night Raw. A lot of people are saying, is Punk really even hurt? How can he go through that physicality and everything else that he went through with Drew McIntyre at the end of that promo? First off, let me say, damn good promo.
Yeah.
And Punk always can be counted on for a damn good promo because
especially when you let him be real.
Right. It came from the heart, and you could tell. And especially even as just a human being, when I heard him start talking about, the person that he would go to chemo, with, or the fireman that's in Chicago. So I could relate to that because the human in me is going, damn, all right, I really feel for you right now.
Yeah, I mean, even I don't think that was his intention.
Right.
It doesn't seem like Punk's the guy that would draw for sympathy. But fact of the matter is, he got dealt a hard blow and he was pissed off about it. We've all been there.
But at the end of that, you saw the physicality between him and Drew, and everybody's like, "Well, why did they let him get so physical if he's really hurt? Well, why the hell did they let Cody in there with a torn pec? The damage is done at that
some point. It ain't gonna get no worse.
It ain't gonna get worse. Now,
you
when
already
he stepped
know
on
he's
that arm,
staring down surgery. You already know he done miss WrestleMania. What the hell if he misses another couple weeks after WrestleMania? Well, so what?
Now, when you saw Drew step out on that arm and you heard Punk yell out, I'm sure that was real.
Yeah, it probably didn't tickle, right?
But that didn't feel good.
Again, same point. Hell, if your leg's broke, you ain't gonna break it no more. No. I mean, when Sid was out there, when Sid was out there, and his ankle was dangling like ready to just fall out his boot. It wasn't gonna get no worse. I mean, it just hurt at that point. So. And they're professional wrestlers. They hurt for a living. I mean, that's their life. Punk can take a little bit of hurt to program the storyline, and now whatever happens between now and let's say SummerSlam, because that's probably when we'll see him again. They could work up whatever they need to get to that point.
So I love Drew. I love Drew turning uber heel, like sinister heel.
He went straight jackass when he was like, "I prayed for your injury." It was like, wow, dude.
Yeah, but he come out there. Cruel. He come out there though, and it was almost like he had that demeanor about him, like he was kind of feeling for him.
Yeah,
like us fans.
He had that sorrowful look on his face, and then when he turned on you and said, like, "Yeah, I prayed for that," and it's like, prayed for what? He's like, prayed for you to get injured and be out of WrestleMania. I said, wow.
And then you could tell, and a lot of people, and again, we're going to go inside baseball. A lot of people are saying that there was no producer for that promo last night.
I can believe that.
And that was kind of all on Punk. Drew's music hit. Of course, that was probably planned, but at the same time, Punk played it off like, I wasn't expecting that. Right. So for the way that they interacted and everything, and then Punk telling them, your ass is going to be the first one that I come back for.
Yeah.
Hell yes. Sign me up. I want to see that.
I mean, you got to have good acting skills for that. And I feel like Punk had a lot of practice down in AEW because he kind of had all them same face-to-face interactions, threatening people. And
couldn't have been Stephen Amell, could it?
No, I mean, hell, at this point, if Drew had came out there with a glass in his hand and just broke it, I mean, it just felt like that would have been just the end-all, be-all of the whole thing. Punk would have had like flashbacks to like, he'd have went into fighting mode anyway.
Glass.
That's what I said. Yeah, he just would have went into natural fighting mode anyway. So, I mean, you don't have to do a lot to elicit emotion out of CM Punk anyway.
True.
But if you start threatening him with real glass and stuff like that, Punk gets out of character. So
yeah, so we got that part. So we know Punk said Mania is not in the cards this year. He's like, but not giving up. There's always going to be in the next year. So
at least he acknowledged, though. He said this may have been his only shot because let's be honest.
He was real with it.
Well, yeah, he was. But let's be honest. Everybody else is thinking that too. I mean, at this point now, Punk ain't, he ain't money in the bank. You know what I mean?
No.
Every time we've seen him wrestle on TV the last year and a half, we've kind of seen him get injured following it. We saw him wrestle on TV with AEW. He got hurt. And then he came back out and toughed out, winning the title, and got even more hurt again, in that program with Moxley. He wrestled his last match in AEW. He got hurt. He wrestled in Brawl Out. He got hurt. Damned if he didn't wrestle the first TV match in the WWE, be at the Royal Rumble, where he didn't even have to wrestle.
Anything.
I mean, he just had to go out there and kind of brawl, got hurt. I mean, what the hell?
Yeah.
Like, what'd you say earlier? Pane of glass? I mean, hell, he's Glass Joe. He's the first fighter in Mike Tyson at this point now. He gets knocked out the minute you see him.
All right, so let's pivot to something really quick. We're going to get to the meat and potatoes of something really quick. Cody winning the Rumble. Going to finish that story.
How excited were you Saturday night?
So
when he pointed up the Roman skybox, how excited were you?
Dude, I was on cloud nine. I was in the heavens. I was up there, dude. If I could have met Cheech and Chong, I'd have been higher than them. I was on cloud 9.
All right, then let me ask you a follow-up question. How fast after the bell rang did I start booking every other angle to possibly get him out of wrestling Roman Reigns?
Quicker than a hiccup, as JR would say.
I don't even, hell, Punk was hanging on the ropes, and I was like, so if we do this, he can wrestle anybody else. Fuck, he can't wrestle Roman. Oh, not Freak, he can't wrestle Roman, but he can wrestle anybody else. Let's figure it out. I mean, I was in immediate booking mode. You shut it down completely. You were like, I'm not booking nothing. He's finishing the show. Your literal words were, I'm getting my match. And I said, shit.
Maybe one day we can have some of you fans come do a watch along with us for a watch party with some of these things, because what you guys hear on the podcast,
when it moves over to Netflix, all these cheap fuckers listening, they ain't gonna buy Netflix. They'll be welcome to come over there. Hell, I got Netflix. So.
What y'all hear on this podcast is just a taste of some of the stuff we go back and forth.
Oh
with.
Man. But yeah,
so I was on cloud 9. So here's Cody on Raw coming out, getting ready to officially announce, he's going after Roman, and damn it, if Seth Rollins' music doesn't hit, what did I text you? No, hell no, bullshit. Like, I was pissed. You
were that
so
little
mad.
kid in the back seat when they showed the black baby of the two bright white parents. You were that kid in the back seat. You said bullshit. And
I was so mad.
I immediately said, I was like, I knew it. Damn it, I knew it. It's almost like they text me and ask me, Frank, how do we get ourselves out of this? And I'm like, I got you. Follow my lead here.
Yep, I was so mad, but I will go on and admit, Seth Rollins, you sneaky little bastard, if you did not turn me around from wanting to see Cody Roman to wanting me to see Cody Seth.
It's the story.
It's the story.
He gave you such a good backstory.
He gave me a backstory. He gave me purpose. He gave me reason. He gave me an outline that Triple H didn't even give us.
It's like we have my job, purpose, process, payoff, right? He gave you all 3 Ps and sent you packing.
Everything. He gave me the fact that I don't want to see Cody Roman. I don't want to see the battle for the Hollywood Hogan, Polly ticket. I don't want to see him go after that. I want to see him go after the blue collar. The one, what did they call it? The for us?
Yeah.
By us?
Yeah, the FUBU title.
The FUBU title.
The minute I heard it, so everybody listening, that's on my side of the fence here. Then tell the truth. All black folks stood right the hell up as soon as we heard him say for us, by us. And we immediately went and found some FUBU shirt or something that we still got linger in our closet somewhere. We all stood proud last night and realized Xavier Woods tweeted it. The FUBU title.
FUBU title.
Everybody, if you have African American in your body, you immediately thought, wow, they just generated the FUBU title and immediately found a way to market it. Yes, we all did. Absolutely.
So after his speech, I sat there for a minute, and like Cody, I'm sitting there processing this, going, good God. Yeah, I want to see this. I want to see this happen. And then Cody doing the Cody thing, which if it's going to happen, and it's already been decided.
Yeah.
It's already been, Cody knows what's up.
Yeah.
But just for storyline's sake, Cody's like, I think on it. Mm-hmm. And I'm going, you're leaving us in limbo, and you're doing it for a reason. It's again, building that anticipation from the fans, just like you built us up for Rumble.
Yeah.
And it is so refreshing as a wrestling fan to have this experience. Right, it's a great time to be a wrestling fan.
I mean, so all the while you were saying, "Good God," I hadn't looked at it that way. I'm over here saying, "Thank God, let's get us out of this booking nightmare we put ourselves in by letting Cody win the Rumble again. Get us out of this nonsense. Get The Rock on the phone and say, look." You're now part of the company, right? You're not an outsider coming in to, get over or do a favor or promote a movie. You're working here now. We need you to hook us up one time, because now we're having a big problem at the top. Our main events are falling like flies. We're not even sure everybody's going to. I'll be surprised if we see any of the main eventers wrestle anymore between now and Mania.
Yeah, they may
whoever goes in the chamber, whatever they book book for the chamber, I hope they book audibles for that too, right?
Yeah, so
they need to have minimum 3 people that can come out of the chamber and challenge for whatever title they do.
So I'm hoping,
otherwise somebody's gonna get damn hurt.
So I'm hoping that they do not put The Rock in the chamber.
I don't see that.
I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that kind of happen now, because the way that I see this happening, if Rock is going to truly go after Roman's belt, okay, let it happen, but let it be under a circumstance where the Rock just pulls up and goes, "You thought you were head of the table.
Yeah.
Here I am. Let's settle this. Let's
Yeah.
do it. Let's do it." And here I go. I'm gonna eat some crow, eat some humble pie. I said it didn't have to be for the belt. The way that Seth spun that belt speech Monday night kind of does have to be.
It's always got to be for the belt.
It does have to be for the belt.
Yeah, Seth called it the Hollywood title for a reason, right? He definitely called it the Hollywood title, knowing Hollywood's coming for it.
Yep.
And who's the leader in Hollywood now? It's The Rock. So
yep. So they're kind of painting this picture. So I will concede, good sir, I will be on the Rock Roman bandwagon.
All right. Well, cheers to that.
Let's go ahead and just embrace it. Cheers.
All right.
Cheers to you,
that.
sir. So I will be on the Rock Roman bandwagon for Mania. I will be on the bandwagon for Cody, Seth. Hell, I'm on the bandwagon for anything right now because it's WrestleMania.
I also want to see a little bit of Braun Breaker Gunther in WrestleMania, but that's for a whole other podcast.
Yeah,
we'll venture into that another day. But
you got to come back for that conversation.
Where there's smoke, there's fire. And my God, there's going to be some fire coming out of that match.
Absolutely. So if you can't tell, we've had a blast watching Rumble. We've had a blast with all of this fantasy booking and discussion. But man, if you want to join in on the conversation, reach out, drop us a line on the social media platforms. Tell us what you see happening, where you see things going. And again, like we always say, don't mean you're right, because it's the Booker's Alliance podcast.
Absolutely. But, we'll let you have a little say on here, a little bit here, a little bit there. But at the end of the day, we got the pencil, so we're gonna make these matches.
Absolutely. So everybody, thank you for listening today to our podcast. And with that, we bid you adieu.
Peace.
Today's podcast was produced by SBP. You can find our podcast on all major podcast platforms. Also, connect with us on our social media accounts. Search for The Booker's Alliance on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and X.